welcome back to Sativa Sequoia ASMR, or as we say around here, gay SMR, because yes, we do the ASMR, but gay, that's just what we do. If you don't like it, get the fuck out. Thank you. Today we're going to be making crab cakes. We're going to be making crab cakes. Now, traditionally divas, I do a standard Maryland crab cake. Now that means it's flavored with like Worcestershire sauce and some mustard and some Old Bay. It's held together by cracker crumbs and usually these are saltines. Sometimes people use Ritz and a little bit of mayonnaise. Sometimes you add egg, but the real star of the show is actually the crab meat. There's very little filler. Today we're doing the Legal Seafoods crab cake, and there is so much fucking filler in this crab cake, okay? I got this recipe out of a book, I think called Chesapeake Bay Crabs, that's about like crabs and crabbing culture and the watermen, and has a large recipe section. It was the only recipe book in the place where I was staying in Ocean City. I was recently in Ocean City, Maryland, and while I was there, I was like, well, fuck it, it's crabs are still in season. I'm gonna get some and make some fucking crab cakes because I really love crab cakes. So yeah, I was not born under the Old Bay sign, y'all. I'm from Virginia. However, I don't use my turn signal, and I have had crabs. So I'm basically an expert. Okay, I'm basically from Maryland. So I made these crab cakes and I served them to my friends, and all of them asked for seconds, which is not always the case. Okay, that's not always the case. Not everything I make is so successful. Now I will say two things about this recipe. One, there's a little bit of a lack of specificity here that I find frustrating. I realize that cooking is not rocket science. However, I like details, and this recipe could be a little bit more detailed. So I'm going to be putting like my take on the recipe probably in a future video, because I really like the base. We have going here, but the trouble is trouble. Okay, so I'm just gonna read you this recipe real quick. Legal Seafoods crab cakes. Heather Freeman, who manages the media and public relations for Legal Seafoods, managed to persuade the chefs there to share their crab cake recipe that was voted Reader's Choice in the Washingtonian magazine in 2009. Now, the recipe that I'm going to read to you yields 2 crab cakes, but I actually doubled it because I had just like a standard unit of crab is like 16 ounces, and this calls for 8 ounces of crab, so I just doubled the recipe when I do it. So when you see me do it on video, don't pay attention to the measurements I'm using. I doubled this recipe. So we're going to have 4 ounces of Ritz crackers, and this is like sort of more or less like a sleeve of crackers. I didn't measure them, but I like did some math on like how many ounces per cracker basically, and like unless I did my math wrong, which is entirely possible, I have dyscalculia, unless I flip 2 numbers or something, which happens all the time for me. I think I got it right. Anyway, 4 ounces of Ritz crackers, just the standard Ritz crackers, 2 tablespoons of butter. Again, specificity. This recipe does not specify whether it's salted or unsalted butter, and that bothers me. Okay, 1/3 cup of scallions, white and green parts, chopped. Now, I assume they mean like green onions, because people use those terms interchangeably, but there's also other things that are scallions, so like, again, specificity. 1/2 cup of celery diced, sure. 3 teaspoons of garlic minced, sure. 1 to 2 tablespoons dry white wine. This is one of those like to taste sort of things. That's fine. That doesn't bother me. But I would like it if they would just give me a measurement and then let me do it to taste. I did somewhere in the middle. I did like, for a double recipe, I did like 3 tablespoons of a dry white wine, and I think I should have put in 4. That's the tea. Here's a strange measurement, an eighth of a tablespoon. Who the fuck has an eighth of a tablespoon around? I mean, is that like, is that standard somewhere in the world? An eighth of a tablespoon? I don't think so. Anyway, I did some math and it was like 3/4 of a teaspoon was the double measurement or something like that. I don't really know. I'll figure it out when I print the recipe, okay? So an eighth of a tablespoon of Old Bay seasoning. Gotta get the Old Bay in there. Gotta get it in there. 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice. 1 to 2 tablespoons of fresh parsley chopped. Now it doesn't say if it wanted like curly leaf or flat leaf parsley. I don't know if they taste different or not. Guys, I have no idea if they taste different or not. So I got curly leaf parsley. That's what I used. 8 ounces of crab meat, back fin. Now, for those of you who are not born under the Old Bay sign, there are different types of crab meat. There are different types of crabs, right? What you want to get is fresh, local Chesapeake Bay crabs as opposed to something that is like fished in Asia and then pasteurized over there and then sent over here in a tin. What you really want is the local product. I'm not saying there's anything bad about like crabs fished in Asia. That's just not what we're making today. We're trying to use local ingredients to the degree that we can. So yeah, there's different types of crab meat within like Chesapeake Bay blue crabs. I don't know the exact ins and outs. There's claw meat, there's like swimmer fin muscle meat, and then there's like back fin meat. And what we're using today is back fin meat that has been pre-picked and pre-cooked. Meaning I went out to here to Crabs to Go here in Berlin, Maryland, and got me some back fin lump. Good pound back fin lump, and let me tell you, that was the most expensive ingredient, and as it should be. We're going to use some salt and some freshly milled black pepper. And then here's the one that bothers me the most. It just says chopped red peppers. It doesn't say how finely you need to chop them. It doesn't say how much red pepper to use. It doesn't even kind of say what red pepper to use. Like, I assume it doesn't mean spicy pepper, but you really never fucking know. Anyway, I used a red bell pepper. That's what I used, and I should have chopped it finer. I'll tell you that, guys, because I went and I looked at a video after this, and there's like a Legal Seafoods like Little Bites like video, and they not only did they saute the chopped red pepper with all the other ingredients that you're going to saute first, they diced it much finer than I diced it. So things to know for next time. 1 large egg. I had small eggs, so I used like a couple of them. And then flour for coating / dredging. And let me tell you, divas, I did not use that. I did not use flour for coating / dredging, but I understand why you would. And honestly, I think I might next time. So that's tea. So yes, anyway, you've just seen me on this little screen over here make and enjoy these crab cakes, and I have to say they are really tasty. Like I said, all my friends asked for seconds. If I had to do it over again, I would add more white wine. I would add some white pepper. I might add just a little bit more Old Bay, and yeah, slightly less of the breadcrumb filler, of the Ritz cracker filler, but overall, I think it's really good. I'm just gonna read the rest of the recipe to you. Place the crackers in a plastic bag. I just do it in the sleeve, and crumble with your hands or with a rolling pin. Put them in a large mixing bowl and set aside. Melt the butter in a large skillet over medium heat and cook the scallions, celery, and garlic for 5 minutes or until cooked through but still slightly translucent. Toss with the crackers. Stir in the wine, Old Bay seasoning, lemon juice, parsley, and crab meat. Season with salt and black and red peppers to taste. Mix in the egg. Refrigerate for at least 1 hour. Now, what I found was this actually... Oh, divas, can we discuss that I have to use broken headphones? Okay, my Venmo I'm just gonna take these off. My Venmo is at Alan Extra. That's ALANXTRA. We are fundraising to buy me some new fucking headphones because these were held on by duct tape and then the duct tape failed and now I'm just sort of like perching them on my head, but like, you know. We make do and mend around here. I'm gonna fix my duct tape later, okay guys? That's really funny that just happened actually. Okay, anyway. Refrigerate for at least 1 hour. As I was saying, I thought it tasted better the next day actually. I think the garlic mellowed a little bit. Once the mix is set, remove from the refrigerator and divide mixture into 4 equal portions. Form the crab cake by gently forming with your hands into a loose ball. Do not overpack, it should remain loose. Dust with flour and saute in olive oil or butter until cooked through. I didn't do that. I baked them because that's typically how you do them, but I sauteed them actually the next day. I made 2 batches and kept the dough overnight. And I thought sauteing them was really lovely actually. And I agree that is actually quite a valid way to do a crab cake, as opposed to baking them in an oven, which is typically how I would do them. But I actually think sauteing might be better. Ooh, don't tell anyone I said that. But I'm no crab cake expert, like I said. I'm not from Maryland. I just identify as being from Maryland. So, you know, take that as you will. And Sativa Sequoia out, divas. I love crab cakes, and I'm gonna keep making them on this channel, I think, because I have lots of opinions about them. Lots and lots of opinions. Okay. Bye.